The evolution of a Killbox. This is my first setup. It has these doors that run through the middle so that my guys can get in there and replace the traps easier. Although that turns out to be a pretty significant weakness, and it almost cost me my colony later on. But that's why it's called an evolution, not perfection. You can see right here, instead of pathing out, they try to go for the doors once they start fleeing. Initially I think it's fine because I'll just kill them right there, which I do. And not every raid goes until the kill box, obviously. These pigs just drop right on top of me, which is annoying. But luckily I have a pawn named Frank who's just a straight up psychopath and has a sword. And is happy to just go around murdering everyone. I also have a dog and a little terrier that help me fight. This is the next raid. Again, not all raids go through the kill box. They drop outside of my base, but they're breachers. They're actually decently well armed too. They have automatic weapons, a light machine gun, and they just come through my outside doors. They don't path to the kill box. Luckily, they do stack up on this corner though. Frank's up there. Like I said, he's a psychopath. He's just gonna murder everyone with his sword. I actually get a little bit lucky here because they start fleeing right there, and Frank's getting a little bit outnumbered, but we managed to kill them all. That was a tough raid, especially with the amount of weapons they had. So, we decided to make Frank a uranium warhammer, since he is a psychopath. Oh, and by the way, it's masterwork. He had an inspiration. Frank right now is a little bit injured, but once he equips his warhammer, and he has a bionic heart, the next raid does path through the kill box. They have to come over the swamp, which is kind of a cool setup on my base. But unlike the breachers, these guys just have a bunch of bows and arrows. That's how the game goes. Sometimes you get raids with, they got shotguns and light machine guns and everything, and then this raid, these guys just have a bunch of bows and arrows. Actually, none of them have melee weapons. But Frank's almost totally healed, so he wants some blood. He's gonna use his hammer. Yeah. And he's just gonna kill everyone by himself. That's 2 people. He got that guy. 3 dead with hammer. 3 hammer kills. He likes to bash people's heads in with the uranium warhammer. These guys are fleeing and they're stuck in my base. He's like, easy meat, buddy. So the hammer worked out good. He got to kill 5 people with it. He's happy now. But we need to burn the bodies to make sure that we destroy all the evidence. We also like to raid other tribes because that's our ideology. Funny enough, they shot the door open when they were fighting the other people. This raid is kind of good. They had a bunch of pemmican and some dead wolves for wolf skin and meat. And when we raid, we take everything. We take every single piece of every single thing that's around while Frank just sleeps in his sleeping bag. Smashing people's heads in with a hammer gets tiring. The insects raid my base because I have one little tiny piece of the map where I've dug out a hole. There's no wall or anything, so they just spawn out in the open. Obviously that makes them difficult to deal with because they just have an open space to run right at me. Frank's putting on some plate armor, so he's not even close to my people yet. do have a video later where I show how I deal with the bugs. But this gets a little bit messy because it's just a wide open fight. My dogs have to fight. Everyone's just kind of in a little bit of a pickle here. I think one of my guys loses an eye. But finally Frank comes in. He's got the plate armor and the hammer, so he can deal with them. I needed him in the beginning though. He didn't have time to put the armor on. I'm playing in the Boreal Forest, so it's super cold, so I like them to wear their parka most of the time. And just not the armor 24/7. We do take some injuries for sure, but we end up killing them all. This is a preview. And we raid some more. I like to take all of the tile. It turns out to be 890 blocks of marble. If that's not satisfying, I don't know what is. Here come the pigs. If you don't know, pigs are super tough. This is the raid where things get a little messy. Because I haven't fixed my Killbox yet, and the pigs come in 2 waves. Which is like perfectly timed to throw off my whole setup. So they start fleeing, but this guy breaks the door down on the south end of my base. However, there's another wave of pigs coming in that are not fleeing. They're not in a mental state, they're coming in just to fight. So once this guy gets this door open, then the second group is just going to rush right in. So now it's up to my people to just fight them off without any traps or anything, and the pigs physically are very tough and hard to deal with. Frank does go in, he has his plate armor on. If it wasn't for him, he probably would have lost the whole colony right here. But luckily, he is able to kind of do a decent amount of damage. It just gets super chaotic. They're popping fire foam. Frank's down. My horses are fleeing. There's deer running everywhere. It's just a super messy fight. Which, if they had maybe 4 more pigs, they would have totally taken me out. So, of course, I improved my Killbox because that obviously wasn't working. I took out the doors, I made everything stone, and I added another S. I like this setup. I think it's symmetric. It looks really cool, too. Although the amount of traps in here costs a crazy amount of wood. It's like over 2,000 wood to reset all these traps. And then the last row is steel traps. This is another drop pod raid. Although they drop in right into a group of traders, which is nice. Some of them do drop in my base. I think only 2 of them, though. The rest drop outside. And yeah, compared to fighting pigs, these guys are nothing. Almost all of them end up pathing around outside to the raiders. Although the raiders do take some pretty heavy casualties. One of the traders, I mean. One of the raiders is a Yatkin, which is a tough dude. This guy that looks like a bear, he's like just killing their sheep right now. So they're pissed and they're trying to kill him. He finally dies. This is a weird raid. There's 7 and 5, 12 guys with sniper rifles. Which goes pretty much exactly how you would think it would go. Impids are very weak. And can't really take that many shots. 2 impids start fighting each other and run off. Yeah, they drop 7 sniper rifles. Thank you? Here come more pigs. Now there's no door for them to flee out of, though, so you can see they're way tougher than the impids. Each one will take 2 or 3 or 4 spike traps. And there's one pig that's nimble, too. I think this one in the front that just runs around all the traps. But now all of them are fleeing. They came in one big group instead of two groups. I was so confident in the traps that I didn't even draft my people. But now that they're gonna breach through, I have to actually get them set up over here in this little defensive thing I made. That's Rimworld, though. I mean, right after the pig raid, I get another raid, so I don't have any of my spike traps set up. But luckily, they're baseline humans, and they have bows and arrows. I'm sure in the future the game's going to send a group of armed people through like this. Maybe a pig raid and then an armed raid, but I'm not very much worried about a bunch of people with bows and arrows. Each one of these spike traps will take down one person. This guy has plate armor on. It's in front. You can hear it went ding. But yeah, they get through for sure. It's gonna be a tough fight for them, though. They have to clear the open. It's like they're storming the beach at Normandy or something. I mean, it's horrible. They all have these stupid hoods on. They have no armor or anything. I'm a tribal start, so it makes sense that I'm getting tribal raids and I raid other tribes. These guns I've really just gotten from people that have raided me. And we get to execute the people that are fleeing from us. I mean, my tribe is pretty hostile. That's part of our religion. This comes more tribes, although I was able to get my spike traps set up. They come with so many people. I have 45 spike traps, I think, or something like that. So they come with probably 60 people or something. I don't know how many total, but enough to dump all my traps. So I might have to improve this Killbox with more turrets, because it looks like they're starting to infiltrate through. Although it is fun to just kind of sit in there and shoot them, I'm not gonna lie. My horses seem to get a kick out of it. And then yeah, now we get the execution firing squad going. Sorry, guys. But, like any good tribe, we have to hide the evidence. We don't want the Geneva Convention coming to get us. Plus, all these bodies and weapons contribute to your wealth, so it's good to get rid of them so you get less strong raids.